What's going on, people? What's going on? We're back with another one.
Yes.
We're meant to have two special guests, right? But one of them was on time. The other one's going to be coming shortly. So that's why we're starting without him. But our first guest, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Okorocha. I'm one of the co-founders of Vamp, which is a digital talent and entertainment PR agency based out of London.
Nice. Amazing. So tell us the story. Where did it all start and what were you doing pre-Vamp?
Yeah, so with Vamp, there's three of us, so we're co-founders. So there's Ruby, Rumby, and me. We met at Coventry University in 2012. So it's actually 10 years until our friendship's 10 years this year. Didn't realise that.
Nice.
And we were just friends. Rumby and Ruby studied the same degree. Media communications and culture. I studied business, and we kind of met through a friend. So one of my male friends was dating a girl in their circle. So when I would be with him and my friends would go over and meet them a lot, and they became my friends easily. As that's how I met Ruby. Then Rumby and Ruby were friends on the course, and then I don't know, we just met each other one day. I think Rumby it's actually a mad story. So there was a time where I was at uni and I needed a job for second year.
Yeah.
And I knew that in order for me to get a job, I'd need to work before everybody came back. So after first year, instead of going back to London, I stayed in Coventry for the summer and I got a job in the summer and then had the job so I can have a job throughout the whole year. So I basically sacrificed my summer.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anywhere to live. So Rumby was like, come stay with me. Because she's kind of from the West Midlands. So she kind of took me in her little studio flat, and then that's how we became proper close.
Yes, that's amazing.
And then we all became friends. And then there was a time I was interning. So I interned during my placement year at Google and Canon. And I think there was a day where I just messaged Ruby and I was like, I think we need to start a business around serving the Black community, using influencers, digital means and stuff. And then from then on, we went back to uni, then we went to work. It's such a long story. We went back to uni, finished our degrees, then went to work, and then I just quit my job, and then we went in it full time in 2017.
Amazing. Yeah. So before, have you always kind of been entrepreneur? Do you have the story of selling sweets in school?
Oh, do you know what? I don't. Yeah. I wish I did though. It's a lit story. I always think, why don't I ever get to tell that story?
Everyone's good, so it's good you got a different one. So
have
you always been entrepreneur, or you just kind of saw a problem that you knew you could solve? Or?
Do you know, I've always been a busybody. That's I've always been a busybody. I won an award in college for a busybody. It wasn't busybody, but it came to the classes and they were like, you need to write down all the things that you do, extracurricular activities. And I wrote them all down. My teacher was like, wow, here you go. You're going to get the gold star. So I want to win one award for just doing the most. But I think in school, I've always been someone who liked to participate in dance, singing, acting. I did loads of things. And I used to watch The Apprentice all the time as well. And I loved it. And I think it just came in like that.
So how long did it take from idea to planning to execution? Or did the idea just drop out of the sky? Or was it something that you were sitting on before you messaged? It was Rumby or Ruby?
Ruby messaged
Ruby. Before you messaged Ruby? What was
I think, do you know what it was? I think we saw a gap in the market. When I was at Canon and when I was at Google, I just felt like, obviously Canon is a company that is a Japanese company. And when I worked there was a lot of kind of Japanese people there. So there was a lot of culture there, 100%, but there wasn't a lot of Black culture, you know? And when I was at Google's an amazing tech company. There's so many smart people who are really lovely, everything. But I think I was one of the few Black women on the floor. But then also, I think when they asked me to come up with ideas, I was given ideas that were related to my experience. And I found it quite easy to do so. And I think I felt like we needed to start a company that essentially did it. There was a niche and we found a niche. And I think a lot of people, when they're trying to start a business, they have the idea in the back of their head and they wait for the right time to pounce. But I think with us, there was a massive niche and we literally took advantage of it.
So what kind of sets your business apart from all the other businesses?
Yeah.
Or is it the fact that nothing sets you apart from a business? Is it the fact that you guys just started earlier on?
Do you know what? Yeah, I think, yes, it's that. But not to toot our own horn. I wish Ruby was here because she's better at doing this than me. But when we came into the film and TV space with what we offered as a business, influencer-led strategy, no one was doing it. Not even the big companies, not even our competitors who were like the traditional companies, they weren't doing it. So we came into the space and we said, we're going to come and do screenings with just influencers and everyone's going to talk about it. So when we first did Girls Trip, we essentially invited about 100 women into a screening, just black influencers and celebrities, and we saw the results the next day. So I think they predicted 850K box office that weekend, and they got 1.5 mil. And that was just from 100 black women being in the room, tweeting, hella excited about their about the movie and stuff. So yeah, so when we did that, I think we started inviting influencers to premieres, started doing more screenings, and I think that changed a lot in the film and TV industry. And then also in black culture, there was more black talent be involved in these kind of big conversations. And then I think as we started to do it, a lot of brands started opening their eyes more to see that there are, you know...
So is it only strictly black influencers you work with?
Yeah, so we work around black culture.
Black culture.
So it's black culture, but it is black influencers. And we're happy and we're proud and happy to say that. And I think a lot of people do say to us, in the future, do you see yourself being more mainstream? No. Like, no.
And I think there's definitely a need for that. Like, you know, for example, like even looking at the work you've done with some of your talent, that like includes like Adiola Patron, like Miriam Musa, Nella Rose as well, right? I just kind of seen their growth and the trajectory, like how they kind of, instead of going the mainstream way, like Nella on Foot Asylum and stuff like that, it's like, you know how to build their brand the best compared to others that might try and saturate
it's because you live it, do you know what I'm saying? You grew up in it, do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, I had another question. Oh, that's it. So what sort of... Okay, so the influence that you work with, is there a particular type of following that they have? Because like, you know, one person could have 5K followers and they could consider themselves an influencer. Another person could have 20K and they're an influencer. So is there how do you guys...
I kind of decide
who you're going to work with?
Initially in the beginning, Mariam was our friend. So we managed her because she was our friend and we wanted to support her. And then as we started... I think Nella was our second influencer that we started.
So Mariam was your first?
Yeah, Mariam was our first. I think then they went to Nella, then they went to Esther, then they went to Yelena, then Lisa, and then, you know. But she was our friend. So it wasn't necessarily based on the fact that she had a following. But then obviously with Nella wasn't where she is now then. So we helped her grow.
You grow together,
we grew together. And then everyone else we helped them grow. And we don't necessarily think it's about following, because right now, we have an influencer network. So we've got the 5 girls that we manage. No, we've got 4, and then we've got Victor. And then we also have a network of influencers. I think we have about 60 to 90 influencers in that network that range from they can range from 10K to whatever, like 1 million in that network. Yeah. But we don't necessarily manage them. But when we see opportunities for them, we bring it to them, because brands, like, in my opinion, the ones that are not smart are the ones that look at numbers. Because brands will be like, oh, she's got 1 million, so I'm going to work with her. But who are those 1 million people that are watching her? 20% fake pages. The rest, who are they? Some of them live in Baghdad. Some of them live in Austria. They're not where you want to, that's not what you want to target. So the smart brands are talking to the girls who have loyalty, engagement. Obviously, engagement is the biggest thing. And people that, you know, look to them for their opinion. So it's not necessarily about numbers. It's just about, do you have that following that look to you for your opinion and consume the things that you put out?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Amazing.
So like, what does it take to start a business? Like, when you first started, was you working like, you know, 20 hours a day? Was you getting sleepless nights? Was you stressed? Did you get mouth ulcers?
No, God forbid. Things with me and Rumby always say we don't like stress. That's something we don't
soft
like.
life.
Yeah, we want soft life, and I do not like stress.
Cheers to
And
that.
yeah, and it's when we first started, it wasn't an easy ride at all. So we started in 2017. I quit my job, went to Vegas like a fool, spent all my money, and then came back and like then Ruby quit her job, then Rumby quit her job. And then I had some family issues that kind of happened. So I had to go and like no one kind of knows this, but I had to get a job at Leon. Yeah. So when I quit in 2017, we had Vamp. This is whilst we're doing Girls Trip, whilst we're doing all that kind of stuff, I had to get myself a job at Leon. So I went to Leon for like 2-3 months because some family stuff that I had to have money basically. And it was hard, but at the end of the day, me, Ruby and Rimby, we have such a great sisterhood that it doesn't matter about, oh, you ain't done this, I've done more than you.
Yeah.
The purpose of Vamp is to elevate Black creators and elevate Black culture. So it's not about, I'm putting in 100 hours, you're only putting in 10.
Yeah.
It's about we're all doing this together. And it is about, though, putting in the work, though. I don't want anyone to ever think that a business is created and it's easy to just do it. Like, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the time. It's not going to be easy. If you sit down and just listen to what people on Twitter say about, make sure you just, be calm and, don't overwork yourself and you need to sleep and all this stuff. When you do, but when you start a business, it's sacrifice. Like, just like, it's not the same, but just like when you start a family as a woman, you have to stay up and take care of your baby. You have to stay up and make sure your baby's all right. You wake up at different times of the night and all that kind of stuff. Not the same at all, because raising a child is not the same as having a business, but the same way you got to nurture babies, the same way you got to nurture your business, which is like your baby.
Yeah.
How was that decision to quit your job? What was that process like? When did you know it was the right time?
I think it was, I kind of knew, because I was coming to work late and I just wasn't in the mood.
Yeah.
And I remember the person I was seeing at the time, when I saw him like recently, he was like, I remember when you were like saying you wanted to leave your job and you weren't happy and blah, blah, blah. And for someone to come back and tell me, I remember that side of you, shows you that I was not in a good place when
definitely.
I knew I needed to.
You know what? That's a very good segue, because a question just popped up. How was it like, obviously you don't have to go into too much detail, right? And you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But how was it dating when starting a business?
Do you know what? Yeah, it was fun because you're broke. So it's like, it's fun. Actually, it's not fun, but it's like, you have to be with someone who understands like the grind. And the person I was seeing at the time, he actually, do you know what? I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I was quitting my job, I also like kind of quit him as well. Like I kind of like...
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, I kind of like left him, and we spoke about that after, but like I left my job and then I also was just not airing him, but just it wasn't the same, basically. So I kind of think that maybe me quitting my job and going into Vamp full time, I was so tunnel vision that I didn't even want to date anyone.
So like, did you quit your job? Obviously you said you quit My Man as well, right? Did you have to kind of distance yourself from certain friends as well, or like not go out as much?
Oh no, that was I was going out.
You're going out. Okay,
fair enough.
2017, 2018, I was outside. I was literally enjoying. But you know what I realised though, and something that I realised in terms of business, a lot of deals get made in a bar, in a club.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
On a night out, 100%. Because I think me being out in 2017, 2018, networking, literally, even I got a story. So for Girls Trip, we really wanted Michaela Cole to come. And actually, no, that's not even it. Like, if I think back at it. So at Girls Trip, obviously we wanted all the amazing Black women to be there.
How did you get Girls Trip as a client, firstly? Like, how did you go about getting, like, the big like, screening companies?
Yeah, so that's even a funny story as well, because Ruby used to work at Universal, but she, it wasn't like that. So she works at Universal, but she works in the home entertainment section. Home entertainment section is like DVDs, things get after they go in cinema. So she had a certain job, like she knew what to do. That was just her lane. When we started Vamp, we started to think, how can we support in different areas? Because we didn't fit in anywhere when we started Vamp. So when we heard Girls Trip was coming, Ruby was like, do you know what? When I worked at Universal and Straight Outta Compton came, they did not do nothing for the Black community, didn't do no Black marketing, nothing. So she was like, what if we try and get involved in Girls Trip? And she was like, I'm just going to call someone. And it's not even like she messaged her old manager. So like she did all that. She literally called someone at Universal she looked in a book or looked at contacts, called someone at Universal and said, hi, my name's Ruby, I've got an agency and I want to see how we can work on Girls Trip. And the person was like, okay, I'm the person to talk to.
Amazing.
And then
Wow.
it was actually mad. Like, she's like, I'm the person to talk to. She was like, send me a deck, here's my email. We sent the woman a deck, saw the deck. She called us. She was like, yeah, this is really good. Can you send us another one? And I was like to Ruby, no, let's go in and present to her. So she was like, no, we can come in. Went in, presented to her, asked her what they would do for the whole film, what their PR strategy, all that kind of stuff. They're like, yeah, we're going on BBC. We were like, if you go on BBC One Extra and make sure you talk to, I think we said Ace at the time, or The Breakfast. And they were like, you know what? Can you consult us on PR strategy as well as do an allocation for the screening? Then they ended up giving us the whole screening. But it was just like, and then after we did Girls Trip and it did really well, we literally called Disney.
Oh wow!
And they brought us in.
Got to pick up that phone, boy.
And no, honestly,
shoot your shot.
for all the entrepreneurs, all the hustlers, everyone who's trying to start a business, even if it's a side hustle, phones, calling people is really the real key to success.
Yeah.
And there's the emails, but call someone. If you go on the phone to them, what can they really say to you?
Yeah, you kind of just calling them, innit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. And then, from there, you kind of started building it and picking your clientele as well.
And going back to that story, so about going out and stuff and how that helps in business transactions and business in general. So we really wanted this certain publication or media company to work on Girls Trip and interview someone for Girls Trip.
Yeah.
So I knew that they were having a party that night. So I was like, I'm going to go to that party and I'm going to talk to the guy, And the thing is, I didn't even know what he looked like. I just knew I knew they were having a party. So I knew someone from there was going to be there. So I go to the party. I remember it was at the curtain. Go to the curtain. I take my sister with me. I'm with my sister and her friends. And it was all right at this party. Then I see Michaela Cole. And I'm like, do you know what? It would be sick if she came. So I went up to her. And I was like, doing a thing for Girls Trip. Like, I'd love for you to come down. And she was like, yeah, take my agent's number. And her emailed her agent. She came, but she came with a dog. It was funny. She came with a dog because she was like, I'm babysitting my dog, my friend's dog, and I couldn't get out of it. So I came to support you guys. And then what was crazy was Jada Pinkett loved Michaela Cole, and we didn't know that. Took a picture of Michaela Cole, put it on Twitter, and it kind of blew up. Wow. And then, it was like a proper moment. Universal was so happy.
It's good that you said that because I think, especially now, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of might see that as if they're begging.
Yeah.
And just like, listen, you got to have the balls to get what you want.
Have you always been that way, or did you kind of build the confidence to kind of approach people and shoot your shot?
Do you know what? I think it was like when I was working in my placement year, I used to do a lot of networking. And because I'm such a busybody, so I meet loads of people. Yeah. So that's just my thing. So I know how to talk to people. So I think I've always just been someone who I'm not scared to go up to someone and talk to them. However, I would say the pandemic did kind of change me a bit. And I'm only learning to get back into that, being comfortable talking to random people.
It's mad they said that because remember the discussion that we was having, how I was saying that when I was working on placement, I learned how to read body language, communicate with people.
Where did you work on placement?
So I worked at Enterprise.
Okay,
that's how I started. Then
everyone's at Enterprise, but all my Enterprise people are lit though.
But I only done it for 6 months.
Because it was hard there.
No, it was tough. That will put hairs on your chest.
No. All my people that worked at Enterprise, all of them are either doing lit things or are very dynamic in the companies they work for, because Enterprise ain't no joke.
And then after that, I moved to the Conduct Authority and in financial services. And that is where my networking skills that's why I really reaped benefits, because I went from doing the 1 week work experience to project managing a project to then working in the director's office. Do you know what I mean?
And it's like the networking you do in a company.
Exactly.
Because when I was at Canon, I had lunch with the vice president.
Yeah.
And because I think he does this thing where if new people come in, he has lunch.
Yeah.
But when I started telling him about my journey, he was an Italian man. He was like to me, do you know what? Why don't you and all the new interns create like a group of people and tell us how we can market to young people. So I went to go rally all the interns, made a little group, and then we did like a presentation and we presented it to someone at Canon. What was so funny was when we presented it, they were so gassed and they were like, hey, we need you to work on this. I said, sorry, I got my internship at Google now, so I gotta go.
No, that's hard.
But yeah, you need to network in the companies that you're in.
100%.
And also kind of like bringing value as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you've done the work and you have something to bring to these people that you're networking with. You're not just saying, oh, can you help us? Or can you...
Exactly.
You're saying this is mutually... value exchange, mutually beneficial.
I got a question, right? Because a lot of people do doubt themselves when they're starting a business or even when they're working. So how do you know you're providing value, or how do you know you're even capable of providing value?
That's a good question. I think, end of the day, you know people's needs. I think when you go into meeting someone, you have to understand... And this is the art of negotiation as well. Like, if you want someone to buy into a product that you're selling to them, you need to understand their needs. That's the first thing. You can't sell products into people who don't even want what you want. And you find yourself chasing your tail, trying to get in touch with them. But if you need to know what they want, and even if you think you know what they want, you're not going to know until you speak to them and understand it. So I think, that's the answer.
Yeah, definitely. Understanding what their pain points are and being able to solve that is essentially exchanging value. And in return, you get some value as well. But, so I'm also an entrepreneur. I've got an agency as well. But starting up, how was pricing for you and how was pitching to these guys as well? How did you find that?
So essentially, what we did was we didn't really know what to charge. So Universal was essentially our first big client. We didn't know what to charge, but I think luckily they told us about an agency they worked with in the past and said, we paid them this, so can we pay you this? So it was easier like that. And obviously that rate isn't something that we charge now at all, but it was still good that we had that pricing thing. But what we also did as a company, and I'd say this, we're an agency, but people who have other businesses can take, they can
Take something
from this. But what we did at Vamp was when we get money in, we split it 5 ways. Yeah. So there's 3 co-founders, so me, Ruby and Ruby. So we'd get some of that split, but then we'll put one to costs and then we'll put one to savings as well. So costs and savings should always have their own pot. So if there's like 2 founders split into 4, if you're not on payroll yet and you don't want to be taking dividends too tough, split it into like 4 pots. So one founder gets, it's an equal share basically, but make sure you're putting something into savings and make sure you're putting something into your costs. As an agency, we had really low costs. I know some people have big businesses where they're doing like merch and like clothing.
When did you start paying yourself then?
I think that was in 2018, end of 2018.
So after like your first big year.
Yeah, after yeah.
But how did you even decide that you was like, you know what, I'm gonna start paying myself, or we are gonna start paying ourselves? And then how did you even figure out the amount to pay yourself?
Yeah, it's nuts because everybody should know that when you are a entrepreneur, you can decide if, I'm gonna. Most entrepreneurs should be have a self-assessment, like self-employed. They should be down as self-employed because if you take dividends, you need to pay the government tax in it. So end of the day, you need to decide, am I going to take that 780, whatever they give you, and take dividend and not really you're on payroll, but you're not necessarily contributing. Talk to your client, they'll explain it to you. But essentially, am I going to take a small salary and take dividend, or am I actually going to be on payroll? And as a founder, you need to think, am I trying to buy a house? Am I trying to get a car? Am I trying to make big life decisions? Because if you are, you need to make sure that you're on a significant amount for payroll. And that doesn't mean that you're on 40K or whatever. That just means you're on 23, 21, 24, 25, so that obviously creditors can see that you can afford a house or a car or whatever. But if you are doing a year of grinding, you might want to take that 700 and something and let's just take dividends when you can. Yeah. It's hard. It's proper hard as a founder to decide how much you're going to pay yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
But you need to just think, what are my goals in life? Am I trying to buy a house soon? So do I need to be on payroll for the next 3-4 months or 6 months? Or am I okay to just be taking a little bit of salary and taking out dividends when I get them huge contracts? Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. So in terms of Vamp, how do you kind of structure it? So you have the PR consulting, you have the activations, you have the influencers as well, the management. What's kind of the business model and structure essentially?
Yeah, so essentially we have 3 co-founders. So Rumby is head of talent. So she manages all the influencers and the collaborations and the network. Ruby's head of PR. So essentially our PR focuses more on film and TV right now. So she manages Horst, who's going to be here soon. And she manages our film and TV team. And then I'm head of entertainment. So I used to be head of strategy, but head of strategy is such a broad term. And I felt like people didn't know what to come to me for, And I think I was just directed, like, I called myself an in-house entrepreneur. So like,
business developer.
Yeah, business development, essentially. That's what I did. But I changed my role to head of entertainment recently because I want to develop our entertainment arm. And we've done so many music. We've done over 70 music campaigns that a lot of people don't really know about.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple. So
we've done like quite a lot of music campaigns, and that makes us that keeps us afloat. So I've changed my name to head of entertainment, and I want us to do more. So at Vamp, we're a digital talent entertainment PR company. Yeah, those are our 2 sides of the business. Yeah. Digital talent means all influencers. Like that could be in us casting, just like we did for the Amazon Prime Harlem thing, or it could be us getting influencers collaborations, and then we've got the entertainment PR side, which could be the music, and the film and TV side. So that's how we structure ourselves.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what business systems really work for you? Because you've been going for 5 years and there's 3 co-founders and now you've built a team as well.
Yeah.
So business systems would you say really helps you guys very much stay?
Do you know what? Yeah, I can honestly say that we're crap at business systems, and I think that's my next thing that I'm going to be focusing on. So right now, I'm focusing on our finances. I'm trying to get us in. We did really well last year, but I want our books to be lit because as founders, you know how it is. Yeah, when you sit down and think about your business finance, you think, oh shit, I got so much to do.
Yeah.
Every time you got to pay VAT, you got to do corp tax, then you got to do payroll, you got to do all this stuff, you got to do projections. I'm trying to get our books so lit that I understand if we work on a campaign, what is my exact ROI by putting 2 people on that campaign? So I want to be to the T. Like that's how I want to build Vamp. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then once that's finished, I'm aiming to finish that in April. I want us to start with our systems. So we heavily use WhatsApp, which probably isn't the best, but we just like it. And our team, especially our Gen Z, they get so vexed. Like, why I hate WhatsApp? So yeah, we heavily use WhatsApp and we heavily use Google Drive as well. But I might put us on Salesforce or some sort of system there.
Yeah, but even like when I say systems, I mean just like automated processes or just processes that you guys have built over time to keep you guys, for example, whether it's how do we find the next client to pitch to or how do we,
okay, cool. So number 1, we have weekly meetings every Monday in the team. So we have to catch up on what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Number 2, in terms of pitching, we are constantly, when Hus comes, he will even explain because I feel like Ruby's side, the PR team, which is Hus, Yaz, and Nebechi, they're like militant in their team. Like the other day they went to go buy like bare magazines. Yeah. And they were in the magazines looking at people in the magazines that we could pitch to. And that's just like cold calling, isn't it? But so they do a lot of that kind of stuff and they look at all the slates, all the movie slates. We used to get invited to...
For those who don't know, like what movie slate, I don't know what movie
cool.
slates
So
as well,
in film and TV in that world, all of the big studios do this big introduction at a certain time of the year where they go through the slates, which is like all the movies that they're going to have throughout the year and the next year. So there was a time where Warner Brother invited us to their slate presentation and they showed us when they were going to have Tenet, when they were going to have Batman, when they were going to have all this kind of stuff, and they showed us all of the stuff and you have to sign an NDA. You can't tell no one that what you saw, essentially. But they send you the slate and then you pitch for the ones that you want. And we know the ones that we want to work on. So that's for the film and TV team. In the music team, it's hard because you know how it is in music. You guys don't know, you lot want to be so secretive and not tell people when you're going to put stuff out. So we can just get a call. Like sometimes we'll get a call. Like recently we got a call about this YG J. Cole song that came out. I think there's someone else on there about that I'm forgetting. And they were like, we're releasing it. We want you guys to work on it. And they'll be like, it's coming out on Saturday, by the way. Okay, no problem. Let's get to work. So with music, it's quite hard because you don't know what's coming out unless someone says like, there's an album coming out, but everyone pushes that album all the time. But you just got to keep on the ball in our industry and you got to have friends because your friends will tell you, oh yeah, by the way, I'm working on this massive festival. I haven't told anyone, but it's coming out soon. So if you want to pitch for it, let us know.
Yeah.
So yeah, friends.
No, that's definitely very important. And how is it kind of, so you kind of touched on you have a good sisterhood. How, like, one thing I love that you said is like everyone kind of has their own strengths and you kind of all joined forces together. How is that kind of managing each other and expectations? And...
I think it was funny because the other day in the office, one of our someone who works for us was like, you and Ruby always bicker all the time. And I'm like, yeah, because we've known each other for years. Like, literally, you're like brother and sister. Like, sister, you literally bicker all the time, but it doesn't mean that we're arguing. It just means that we're disagreeing and we know we can disagree.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, we've just got an amazing relationship where we're very understanding to each other's situations. And I think a lot of people do wonder how we've managed to keep like a friendship and have a business. But I think it's because there's a lot of respect that we have for each other and understanding. Ruby has 2 children and a fiance.
Oh yeah.
Her thing is different and she lives in Coventry. It's completely different to me, who's a single girl who lives alone, lives my life in London. It's a completely different lifestyle. So you have to be understanding.
So question for you. How did the pandemic, or even if it did, how did you guys kind of navigate through the pandemic? Because everything was locked down.
We also, go on,
Did you want to go first?
No, I was going to say we also had the whole Black Lives Matter protest as well. How was that for you? Because even, so for example, I'm not sure if I told you, but I was working at Converse and every company's scratching their head in terms of how to respond to it. But like, luckily, I pitched for them to do the Black History Month in February, because the US do theirs in February, and they had no kind of idea what to do because they've never really done one. So like, how was that? Because like you said, for you, you said people wait for the right time, but also you just got started, and I can imagine that kind of supercharging a lot of the work you're doing and people wanting to branch out to more diverse agencies.
So initially, when the pandemic first started, it was funny because I was supposed to go to a ski trip. Yeah, that got cancelled. So that pissed me off. Yeah. And then business-wise, a lot of the campaigns that we were working on got paused and got stopped, and companies did not know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like it was mad because
It
companies,
was mad. It was actually mad.
who had campaigns that were planning for years were like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, everybody stopped everything. It was just crazy. Like, yeah. So what we did was, and this is when I knew it was a real company. Was when it's so mad because like after 3 years, that's when I realized.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, it was the way that we handled it. So what we did was, obviously we had to work from home. We had a meeting, and we had meetings every day because of the pandemic. We were like, instead of once a week catch up, it was every day. So we'd have a meeting, I don't know, at lunchtime every day, and we'd create a list of brands that would thrive in the pandemic. So we were listing cleaning brands, food brands, all those kind of stuff. And we hit everybody up. And if our film and TV our clients, we said to them, DVD stuff, like all that kind of, let's hit you up. What are you doing for that kind of stuff? So we just had to re-strategize the whole business. And that's how we managed to survive. And we grew a lot during the pandemic. And I think because we were out here pitching, working with Black talent, trying to, work in Black culture, and brands were looking at us like, okay. And then when obviously the George Floyd murder happened, and there was a lot of protests going around in terms of what Black brands are doing for Black people in general around the world, brands started coming back to us like, you know what, we'd love for you to help us consult. End of the day, we could sit there and be like, oh, shame, like you should have done this. End of the day, this is our job.
It's an opportunity.
We're here to consult. We're here. It's an opportunity, like you said. And it definitely helped us a lot. Definitely.
No, for sure. No, definitely. And even like just being able to kind of build something for 5 years, like I must commend you. Like that's definitely incredible. So what would you kind of say is next for Vamp?
Yeah, so obviously 5 years this year, 10 years of friendship as well. We are trying to grow on a crazy number. Like we did really well last year, really, really well, and we're trying to double that next year. So if we're trying to double that, the work ethic needs to be harder. I think we've got 11 people in the team now. We're gonna have 14 by April. And we're going to move into a new office. We're based in Tottenham Court Road, but we're going to move like down the road so we can have more space. And we're just going to go in. Like now I'm head of entertainment. I'm going to go to LA as well. I think ends of the month. And I'm going to go do some networking because we work on a lot of music campaigns. We worked on a Cardi B stuff. We worked on Megan Thee Stallion. We worked on all that stuff. But through the UK. And it can be quite difficult because in America, it's different.
It's so different there.
So I need to go over there and I need to make friends with people out there so they know that, instead of being confused about this market, they can come here. And,
for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Have the right support.
So throughout your journey, right, you went college, school, uni, you've even worked part-time. Up until this point, what would you say you have learned about yourself, about how you interact with people, how you manage people, how you lead? Like, what would you say?
And also building a business as well.
That's such a deep question. I've learned to nurture relationships because I can say a lot of my friends I went to uni with, went to school with, are in business right now. Yeah. So, for example, one of my boys manages a big group in the UK. Yeah. Went to uni with him. A lot of my friends who were building businesses at the time we started Vamp as well, businesses are doing amazing right now. Yeah. We do stuff with them. So nurture relationships. And even at Vamp, someone who works at Disney moved to Warner Brothers, and that's how we got the Warner Brothers contract, because they told Warner Brothers about us. Yeah. So I think it's about nurturing relationships. Don't ever think that you're better than people. Don't ever think you're not going to don't ever not give people the time of day because you don't know where they're going to be. Facts. Obviously, I understand that it's about energy in it. It's about if that person's a nice person, if you enjoy that person's company, like you can't just allow random people into your life, but just don't be rude to people.
No, for sure.
Nurture people. That's just how
For sure.
it should be.
So, mate,
He said,
mate, if you was in school, bro, I'd put you on report.
bro,
Like, this is horrible.
bro, I'm actually the earliest in
Not according to that video.
Yeah,
Not according to that
video was
TikTok.
fraud.
Yeah.
Usually make it then.
Yeah, just obviously for our listeners, can you just introduce yourself?
Yes, my name's Husam, or just call me Hus. I work with Tina as a senior publicist at Vamp, and I'm also the co-founder of 14HQ.
Nice.
Nice.
So you was obviously kind of explaining a pivotal role that Hus does, right? So can you just kind of just briefly, actually no, just explain kind of what you do at Vamp.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
Me and my amazing team. We work with like Black journalists, Black markets, like in order to help market films.
Mhm.
You know, well, TV films, theater, books, everything now. Oh my God,
That's what I was saying. I think
we expanding now.
Yeah.
So like we try and introduce studios into the Black market, and if not introduce them, we try and give them an expert take into which communities to hit. Do you know what I mean? What studios usually do is that they either see the Black community as like one-dimensional, or they don't see that they exist at all. You know what I mean? So like if they don't exist, then we introduce them to like the whole market, and if they use them as like a one-way thing, then what we do is that we show them that there's different, you know, there's Black talents, there's Black journalists, there's Black writers, there's a whole, you know, a world to it.
Yeah.
And then and we try our best to introduce whatever project they give us into.
But like,
the world.
So to do something like that though, like, what does it take?
I'm sure teens are like already touched on this, but it takes a lot of like convincing. That's step one.
Yeah.
You know, which is, I feel like as a Black-owned agency, I feel like that's probably like diverse agencies are the only agencies that will have to pitch as much as we do. You know, there's a bunch of agencies, okay, that they'll just get signed based on rep. You know, like we have one of the big like top rep, but we still have to pitch. You know, so that's like step one. But then like step two into introducing it once we do get it, it's about bespoke campaigns. You know, not every campaign needs the same people. Not everything needs the same type of event. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So like, we've had a variety of events now, from parties to screenings to, you know what I'm saying? So like we to brunches and hotel stays and that kind of stuff, you know, experiences. So we try and obviously work with the other department as much as possible.
Which is the talent.
Yes, which is the talent team, and they're incredible. So we try and work with them to obviously maximize our reach. Yeah.
So you're pitching, right?
Yeah.
How do you pitch? Because I imagine you have to conduct yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, you have to stand a certain way. You have to command your voice a certain way as well, right?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, obviously, you know, pandemic and stuff. I actually haven't done a standing pitch yet, you know. So like, I feel like that was like Tina and Ruby going into like Disney and stuff and just like, doing their pitches.
You started working with us, where was it, like this time last year?
Correct. Yeah. So like, for me, it's Zoom pitches.
But and I think that's what makes it even harder, because you don't have that physical, or you're unable to build that physical connection, right? So how do you overcome that challenge? How do you build that relationship so the person on the other end say, you know what, I like that guy.
Well, the thing is, like, I always say to because obviously I'm, you know, the only guy in the office.
Yeah.
Okay. And weirdly enough, a lot of the people that we work with in different studios are women, you know, which is like, I think incredible. But the girls always say that they take to me easier because I'm a guy.
Yeah.
Because like, so
I think it's because they're so used to seeing so many women in the industry, in the film and TV industry is very women heavy.
Yeah,
especially in PR.
Yeah, in PR. In PR, it's very women heavy.
Yeah.
And I think when they work with a guy, it's just different, you know?
Yeah. Like the other day, like, I'm not gonna say which studio, but we finished a campaign and they sent me like a smiley face. email.
Yeah.
And the whole team was like, "Oh my days, she sent you a smiley face."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No
Because
way.
like, it's like everyone else, she's pretty much like, no. But, I always say to them, but she's fine with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, when it comes to like pitching and stuff, to be fair, I think that's where I thrive.
Yeah.
You know? So,
but like how though? What is it about you that makes you thrive? That's what I want to understand
as well. I think with Hus, like,
I'm the ideas, man.
Yeah, he comes up with a lot of good ideas.
Yeah,
because his background is in music.
Yeah,
you know? And I think music is very creative.
Yeah,
compared to film and TV.
Yeah, facts.
Especially like the industry. So I think he comes with ideas and with the knowledge as well, because they ask a lot of questions. Because then they were trying to convince them to do a party in freaking Shoreditch or something. Like they're like, why should we do that?
Yeah.
You know, and we have to sit there and convince them. And I think this has got good negotiation.
Because obviously, because I know you from before, right?
Yeah.
Facts. So from my perspective, I think it's your charisma, your energy.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Man. It's like, I think it's infectious. It's like you walk away saying, right, you know what? There's something about that guy that I like. I want to speak to him again. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I asked you the question. See,
you need to come into the office way more, you know, because the girls they just bully me, bro. And if you come in and say all this,
they're still gonna bully you. No, I'm joking.
Nah, but like, I always say, if I'm like looking for a job or whatever, like I'm not blind. Like I know like my best trait, and I always say, get me in the room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, get me in the room and I'm calm. Emails, all that, you know what I mean? But get me in that room and I'll pattern.
And that's even a thing to share with people who are entrepreneurs and you're out here pitching. Like sometimes you're not the best person on emails.
Yeah.
You might be cold on WhatsApp or people might take you. But when you're in the room, your charisma, your knowledge, which is very important. People don't understand how important knowledge is. You might not have the best charisma, but if they ask you a question, you know how to answer it. That's important. You know, that's why I encourage more people to be out here networking and meeting people face to face.
It sounds obviously mad simple, yeah, but I think the biggest thing here is preparation. Okay, like you don't want to be in a stage where they ask you a question halfway through it, and you step and go, do you know what I mean? I think one thing that Ruby taught me coming from music is that everything needs a reason. Yeah. Every single slide has to have 4 or 5 different reasons as to why we're doing it. Do you know what I mean? And especially that for them, if we say, hey, you know, we're doing a party in whatever Shoreditch House, right? And then they go, okay, that's super nice, but why can't we just go to a different agency and do the same thing there?
Yeah, and that's what you have to realize as well.
That's the difference. Yeah. So it's about how we try to be like, no, because you know this space is cool for XYZ. Do you know what I mean? So there's reasons to absolutely everything. And even before we pitch, like when I do the pitch, I send it to Ruby. She will literally be like she won't even read it, bruv, if I don't have at least like 3-4 points for each thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we have to be so hulked up, and then as soon as you're prepped, okay, I swear the confidence just it flows through you.
Yeah,
definitely brings confidence.
I got 2 questions. When you're pitching, is there like this question kind of has like a couple of like prongs to it, right?
Yeah.
So when you're pitching, do you get nervous? If so, how do you navigate those nerves? How do you calm yourself down, or do you kind of just grab the bull by the horn, sorry, and just say, you know what, I'm nervous, but we're gonna just persevere anyway?
I think that's a sick question. I think when I get nervous, like luckily, I think I've only pitched by myself so far once in regards to Vamp. Obviously, I was doing it a lot for 14HQ, just me, right? So, I think like when you're nervous in the moment, it's about saying less, right? But it's about controlling what you say. So, instead of going ham with like over explaining or you're choosing what to say in what moment. Yeah. And what someone taught me is a journalist like tactic. If you forget your lines or whatever, okay, say the best thing you can say and then pause. If you pause, naturally, humans don't want to keep the space quiet, right? So whoever you're pitching to is going to ask you a question. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, the power of the pause
is
a key. It's a very important tactic.
But you know what though? That's interesting because that's always saved me, but I didn't realize that it was the pause.
It's the pause.
It is so important. It is so important. I remember, right? I was on this meeting lot of senior people.
Yeah.
And my team lead, he asked a question. But usually on other meetings, like he'll ask the question, there'll be a bit of silence and he'll just carry on talking.
Yeah.
He paused, bro. There was silence. And then I just noticed that silence started to get filled. Oh, we can do this. Oh, what about this? Do you know what I mean? It's so key. It is so key.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, that's the question, bro.
And was you gonna ask something?
Yeah, no, but to be fair, I just kind of want to hear more about your whole experience, like how you got into PR, like even the stuff you've done at music as well, because like you said, PR is heavily like it seems women led, so
yeah,
they're controlled by men though. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
talk close to your mic as well.
But yeah, like I think I kind of fell into it. Yeah, I think I kind of fell into it because I was doing some press at the O2 Arena, and it's really different there because you're prepping for stuff that are 2-3 years ahead. Do you know what I mean? So there's no rush in like pitching and that kind of stuff. And then when I left my role there at AEG, I went to an agency called WMA, and they took me in as a publicist for music. But all of their clients, it was like Harry Styles and Sigala and all those kind of people. So when I came in, I had a few contacts, and then I started taking care of like Talani, Alcone Gold, Yemi, Emi, Adelaide, that's the name. So, like, obviously they took my experience and I think like general knowledge of African music, right? I've tried to hit that market.
Yeah.
So when I got into it, I think I said this to Tina one time. It was like I found that it was the easiest job, but it was the most persistent job. Like it's just about repetition. You know what I mean? But I learned so much there. Like I learned bare there. I can't say a bad word about the team, but music PR made me realize how boring PR was. And it sounds mad controversial, yeah.
No, I don't think it's controversial at all.
It's so repetitive and everything. Like I love my job now because my title is senior publicist, but boy, for sure, I don't just do that. You know what I mean? Like I market, like I do creative content, I direct, I think I produce, I do event management, I manage staff. I've got sick mentors to look at. My side company is helping out with my work.
Yeah.
Like I can't ask for like anything more. I'm mad creative, but at the same time, yeah, I'm efficient in like what we actually do. You know, so that's why. And I've always wanted to go into film. And if I'm to stay in music, it has to be creatively, not through PR. I can't do music PR like ever again.
Hey. So, you mentioned your side hustle or 14 HQ.
Yeah.
Just tell us a bit about that as well.
14 HQ, full service publication, and we're also a creative production agency. I was actually helped out by Tino because we were doing the publication stuff and then we were doing the agency stuff, but we never announced the agency stuff. It was kind of like, because we have a talent, because like me and my business partner Bobby, shout out to Bobby. He's so talented and stuff. Yeah, so like I write all the scripts and then the blueprints and stuff. For we shoot like BTSs and like music videos and short films. You know, so we kind of took that, and Tina was working closely with Ball of Comedy, and she mentioned how like there's a real space for like Black production-led companies, you know, and because we're doing this stuff and because we're getting like, you know, sort of like, you know, a name for us now, then why don't we take it seriously? Do you know what I mean? So we built a team, and from August till December, we turned over the most P's that we've ever turned over in 4 years. Yeah.
My God,
Doggy.
Come on, sorry, I like that. I got a question actually. And I want you to answer from the Vamp perspective. You to answer from the 14 HQ perspective, right? So working within the Black space, right? Sometimes, when we meet a fellow Black brother or sister, right, we initially have that connection. So sometimes professionalism is out the window. So have you guys ever experienced that? If so, how do you navigate and work around that?
Do you know what? Yeah, that question is like heavy because I feel like, what is professionalism? Is it around white culture?
No, I'm just talking about you.
Because no, I'm not. I'm just saying
Okay,
because
cool.
I have to think about it because if I meet a fellow black person and they're not acting professional, I don't know what that is. I think it's more about like respectful. Like it's more. Maybe that's what it is. That's what it should.
But
be
you
like.
come with Tina. I've seen her go into rooms. She comes so corrected that if you come to her in a different attitude, she won't receive it well.
Yeah, you set the tone how you want to be treated.
And then she'll turn and then look at the other or me and say, "Yo, can you?" Do you know what I mean? It's like we have to respect each other.
Yeah, because I think people's professionalisms are different. I've met certain black people who come to me in like a suit and they think that because they go Mayfair all the time and all like that.
Oh,
they're the most professional.
I know you're at it as well. That's the worst thing.
I'm just saying. Or not even just Mayfair. Like they go and do certain things that, you know, or they're accustomed to a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're
make this episode viral and say my name.
No. For me, professionalism is just you maintain a certain level of respect.
Yeah.
You don't overstep boundaries.
Yeah,
you conduct yourself appropriately and use appropriate language. So, for example, if you're stepping into to pitch someone, right? You're not gonna say, "Yo, like, well, go on, you saying you good?" You know what I'm saying? Until you've broken down and you've established that relationship. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what professionalism for me is. Do you know what I mean? It's not speaking the Queen's English.
I think, but in the industry you're in,
it's quite hard.
It's like you said, it's people's. Like you could go out with them and you could come up with a sick idea together. It's knowing how to work with them.
And also, we're black culture and we're every facet of black culture. Sometimes we meet people that come up to us and say, "Well, go on, what's up?" It's like, but end of the day, that could help us in the campaign. Like, that could be what if it's Top Boy, if you're marketing Top Boy, you want to be where that culture is, you know? So that's okay.
Yeah.
However, I think there's a way of conducting business.
Yeah.
I think that should be where the professionalism enters.
For sure.
I think certain things like you gotta wait 30 days for your invoice to be paid. That's the thing that I like. You know? So all that kind of stuff, that's the professionalism I like.
Yeah.
Come to me. Correct.
Tina is the money girl. That's why. But I don't know. I think for me, like, especially with like 14 and Shoe, I think me and Bob, like our biggest thing was like our chemistry and showing that to other people and then showing that we can blend it into your camp or like your team, you know, and making you feel like we've always been here. You know what I mean? So like in order to do so, you kind of have to touch on a little bit of unprofessionalism, like, you know, per se.
I agree.
Now, if we're working with, I don't know, like brand clients and stuff like that, usually it's not black people, is it? You know what I mean? So usually anyway. Yeah. But yeah, there's different tones, really.
Yeah, I think you're in the people's business. Yeah. So you're dealing and interacting with people.
Exactly.
So you need to know how to read the room, like you said, nurture relationships and deal with people accordingly, to be fair. So yeah, definitely agree.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, like, I've always believed in being yourself, though. Like, when it comes to Vamp, and we were walking into certain rooms, 3 black girls who just came out of uni, who literally are still learning about ourselves and our culture, our business and stuff. We could have walked in there and they could have thought, well, and we've had moments, we've had experiences where people have tried it and we could have said something, but we didn't. And that's the professionalism. To me, professionalism is learn how to handle yourself at the moment. About character. But I think it's just all about being yourself and just doing things the right way and being respectful to people.
No, you made a good point, being yourself. And even me, so I work in corporate, I work in finance, and even me, like my mentor, he has kind of taught me how to kind of navigate that space of being yourself.
Is he a black man?
Professional. Yeah, he's black, very successful. Yeah.
Do you wear your hoop earrings?
Yeah, I don't wear I don't wear my hoop earrings, but when I went to we had like something like a Christmas party, right? I put my earrings, bro. I put my earrings in. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's me. Feel me? Some of my colleagues follow me on Gram, like they see what I post. That's me. I'm not gonna hide that.
I love that. I feel like all the people that work in corporate and have a side hustle that's business or whatever, even if you just work in corporate or professional, you got to be yourself when you're not in the, I used to work at Canon, it's such a strict Japanese company, like proper strict. Like, even, you know how Japanese culture is, the older you are, the more senior. Even if you're lit and you're 25, you can never be higher than someone older than you.
Right.
It's mad. Like, it's actually nuts. But imagine being somewhere where it's so strict. Like, I've seen that side of things, and I still think it's so important not to lose yourself when you're in those companies.
I agree.
So,
Listen, I've seen Lex be himself. Shit.
Stop that, man. Stop that. But before we wrap, we have something called the word or phrase of the week.
All right.
Actually, sorry. Before we wrap, what is your advice for anyone trying to get into VR?
My bad.
What are your key tips you'll give to them?
I think the first thing I said, and this is what I said in my interview, is patience. It's like PR is a results business, okay, but at the same time, okay, it's about being patient. I'd say nurture as many relationships as you can before you get into PR. That's one of the biggest things, because once you get into it, it's harder to pitch yourself within the bubble before you get in that. So that's super difficult. And I feel like the last thing is take advice. Don't ever feel like there's always, in PR especially, nothing is the same. No campaign is the same. No contacts the same. You got print, you got online, you got digital, you got film, you got TV, you got music, you got tech, like the whole shebang. Yeah. So no PR is the same. So take advice from wherever you can get. Yeah. Like, I think in our team now, in our like three seniors, Ruby's got like a lot of experience in big studio PR, and then Yasmin has a lot of experience with trade and commercial publications, and I've got like a lot of experience with culture, like publications and stuff. So it's about utilizing each other's contacts, and we're currently like training each other in the spaces that we are, a bit.
And Christina, what would you say like your top business advice would be? Because you've given a lot of really great ones, but
I'd say know your strengths and know your weaknesses. So I think when I first started Vamp and I first started things, I read this book called Weaknesses and Strengths. Okay. And what it basically told me was, if you got a weakness, don't try to be better at it. Just hire someone to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, wow. And I was thinking, like when you got a weakness, you need to learn how to be better at it, all that kind of stuff. But no, like if you've got a weakness, hire someone. He's like, no, I'm not great at my calendar. I'm the queen of, I got a meeting. And it's like 2 minutes after. Like I'm the queen of that, like literally. Yeah. So, but now we're getting an assistant to manage all of our calendars and stuff. And but we know that it's a weakness of mine, and I think everybody should know their weaknesses. I think it's more important to know your weaknesses because then, you can find a way to support yourself and be better. Another business advice I'd give is nurturing relationships. And actually, what I would say, this might help certain people who have a side hustle, is nurture your side hustle and look at the results before you go into it full time. And also, I don't think there's an issue of having a full-time hustle and a side hustle.
Yo,
that is...
I have to shout you out.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've worked in a lot of corporate startups, whatever, all right? Every single one of them, in my contract, it says, you cannot do 14 HU. Every time. Obviously, I still do. I don't care about the man. You know what I'm saying? But, okay, it says that you cannot do it. Vamp is the first company, when I came to it, in the interview, they were like, so what's this? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was, oh my God, sick. So we can, they were, in the interview, they were already thinking about how they can use me. You know what I mean? In different avenues. Yeah. Right? In the team now, there's 11 of us now. Okay. I think half of us have like a side business.
Yeah.
Hard.
You know what I mean?
Hard,
and Vamp either use that business or they give them time to go do that business. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's
so, like, obviously, bro, Lex knows, bro. Like, we were like fucking jetting off to Greece and stuff, and these now were letting me go. Do you know what I mean? So,
that's company culture, and that's super key. I love that. That's really...
So big shout out to them, man.
I think it's just important to just have that, because when I was at my companies, my manager, he let me have Vamp. He let me go to meetings. He let me do certain things. Yeah. And obviously I ended up leaving, but me and him are still close till this day.
Yeah.
And all my other managers at Google, at my other places, I still have a great relationship with them because they knew about Vamp and where it is now. And I just think you need to your life can't always just be about your full-time role. Like you literally have to have a life outside of it.
Agree.
Even if it's you have a family, you have a side hustle, or you do something else, but
for sure.
Build yourself outside of your full-time role.
Very great tips, and thank you guys for coming on and sharing all your knowledge and wisdom.
Even though you was late. It's okay, buddy.
But like Lex said, we end the week with a word of the week, and we end the episode with a word of the week for the coming week because we release on Mondays. So both of you, do you have a word or phrase for the week for our listeners?
Wow.
Surely it has to be perseverance.
Yeah, perseverance beats success.
Perseverance beats success.
You heard that there, people. And our listeners can find you on socials.
So VampUK. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok if you want more funny content.
Nah, you definitely. I definitely got to follow these guys.
And then also so Christina OK on Twitter, Instagram.
Personal Hus_I_am. Sorry, that was from back in the day, innit? That's on all socials. And then at 14HU projects for the gang, for the team, and obviously at VampUK.
Amazing. There you have it, guys. Thank you guys once again for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
And always remember to focus on things that
move the needle. Bow.